Hi guys, and welcome to my review of the AFUL Magic 1. Before I start, I want to thank HIFIGO for having sent me this unit. And as always, and as is my case, I'm not going to be biased by the fact that they sent me the unit. I will give you my honest and my sincere opinion of what I think about the Magic 1. This is the box that it comes with. Very simple, nothing really special. It's a sleeve. In the back we have some characteristics worthwhile mentioning. The impedance, which is 38 ohms, which yes, it is an IEM that is a little bit harder to drive than usual and does need a little bit more power. But nothing that I would say as well is unexpected, let's put it that way. Okay, so that's the sleeve that it brings. The box itself, again, a very simple affair, nothing really special. You open it up, the IEMs came over there, some paperwork, and then some tips, which are generic looking tips. I mean, they got these ones and they got the same thing basically in white here. Let me just open it up. So we got these white ones here, okay. Oops. Okay, so we got those white ones there, as you can see, and we've got these black and red, black and blue, also very generic. These kind of remind me of the 08s a little bit from BGVP. Yes, the other set still also comes with it. So with this particular set, it actually works quite nicely, I have to say. With these ones, the white ones are a little bit too soft to my liking, but with these ones, the nozzle bore actually has the center has a nice thickness, a nice tightness to it, so it actually helps with the bass. So I like these ones actually. Anyway, it's very simple, nothing special. Brings a puck style case. Let me just take this out of the way here. Brings a puck style case that you can see over here as well. Nothing, nothing special or unusual. I guess maybe because it's such a niche product, it would have been nice to have seen a let's say maybe a leather covered case, even though it was puck styled. They could have had a little bit. They could have had a little bit extra detail with regards to this, because let's face it, the Magic 1 is a niche product. The Magic 1 is a very, very niche IEM. Okay, so add to that uniqueness. And the cable, again, is a cable that we've seen on other AFUL products, Performer 5 namely. Nice cable, works fine. I was using it, no issues with it. I just wanted a 4.4 termination. This is a 3.5, so I went for a Jazeer cable. Okay. Also, the tips that I'm using, you can use the TRN T-tips or the Clarion TR8 Clarion tips. They worked very nicely. I really enjoyed the way that I was able to just extract a little bit extra up top, and it's also somehow seemed to clean up the bass a little bit more. I can't really explain it, but they just work well. The T-tips actually work well. That's perhaps the two things which I think maybe AFUL could have tried to give is maybe tips of a better quality. I mean, this obviously the ones that they are giving are not. It's not an issue. It's not a deal breaker. They work fine. The cable works fine. But a cable with tips with maybe some like the Venus tapes or something along those lines. A more fancy tip, a cable with different terminations would have been nice, and a case which is a little bit more unique. And all of this basically is just down to the fact that the Magic 1 is a unique product. It's a different product. It's something which we don't usually see, and to add to that sense of being special, every little thing counts, in my opinion. But as it is, it's fine. The selling price is $139, which I actually found it amazing when first there was some pictures appearing on it on some of the Facebook groups and Discord channels of $1,000, and how people could actually comment and make certain comments with regards to that without, they should know better. They know that it's normal for brands to hyperinflate the prices before launch. It's just the way it is. It's always been done, and for people to automatically start commenting and making comments that, oh, if it's $1,000 this and that and blah. Anyway, whatever. As for the IEM itself, resin shell, very nice built. I mean, very, very nice built. It's AFUL. Fits perfectly, no issues with the fit. It gives me vibes of the tenssion prism in the faceplate. Okay, and then when you look carefully inside, you can see the Nautilus, or the way the labyrinth that they've created, okay, to emphasize the base. You can see that it connects up to that chamber there, which is a resonant chamber. Okay, it also connects up to the back of the BA, a little bit difficult to see, but you can, it does. And it's also, if you look carefully there, you've also got this, let me see, yeah, you've also got these crossover components here, an RLC network. Okay, so that's the resonant chamber there, a little bit better for you, the actual labyrinth. And then if you look carefully, you will see that the BA connects to that labyrinth. Okay, there's a rear vent on that BA there. Anyway, that's the physical aspects of the Magic One. As I said, it's a nice IEM in terms of its build quality, more than up to the standard of what is expected, you know, especially when you consider the price. And again, it follows very much the AFUL company philosophy. AFUL is a brand that doesn't launch an IEM every week. It's a brand that takes its time in developing IEMs. Basically, over the last year and a half, we've had the Performer 5, the Performer 8, now the Magic One, and we're still going to have the Cantor. So let's say in a 2-year period, they've basically launched 4 IEMs. What does that mean? Well, in my books, that means that they take time to do R&D. In my books, that means they take time to make sure that what they give us is a properly designed product, and it's not just putting together of parts and throwing out the door and hoping that it sticks to the wall. No, they do know what they're doing. They design properly, and they're not a brand that is out there to cheat us or to fool us or to give us false technology or false tech or whatever. No, they are serious about what they are doing. Okay, and following on that seriousness and what they are doing here, or what they are attempting to do here with the Magic One, I'm going to see if I can explain this as simple as I possibly can. Okay, when we're talking about sound, okay, or there's a formula that should be used, which is lambda equals velocity is equally to velocity over frequency, where velocity here will be meters per second, and because we are talking about the speed of sound and air, it's 343 meters per second. Lambda will be in meters or in millimeters, depending on then how you how you want the answer, basically. And then frequency is obviously in hertz. And when we mention a frequency, okay, there's an associated wavelength with that frequency. And what is the wavelength? It's the distance between the top of the two crests of two successive waves. Okay, that wavelength, that distance will correspond to a frequency. When we are talking about frequency, the audible frequency range of 20 to 20 kilohertz for humans, we are talking about wavelengths which can vary anywhere between 17 meters and 17 millimeters. Okay, so that's a very big wave there, and that's a very, very small wave there. So when we design home speakers, okay, there are several things that we try and do to extract a little bit more bass. In a normal conventional design, as we all know, sorry about that. In a normal conventional design, we just take a speaker, okay, and we connect it up to a rear box. We take into account the still smaller parameters of the speaker. We take that goes into a whole bunch of formulas, which then will give us the volume, which will emphasize a specific frequency. Let's say, for the sake of argument, it's 40 hertz, okay, which will be the -3, usually the -3 dB point for the lowest frequency response of that bass. Okay, ways of emphasizing that bass is then to take that same speaker and put it into an enclosure which has a bass reflex tube. That bass reflex tube has a specific diameter and a specific length, and that emphasizes again a specific, it's tuned so that together with the volume and the parameters that have been used to obtain that volume, we emphasize a specific frequency. Let's say, for the sake of volume, 25 hertz. Okay. And then there are still other ways of doing it, way more complex ways, but one of the ways that is used is to use a horn loading. So you take that speaker, okay, and you put it into a box, okay, and that box is then horn loaded, okay, and that way. My apologies for that. So anyway, when you design this third type of enclosure, which is a labyrinth, which is created behind the driver, what you're trying to do is create this labyrinth with a specific length. So that length corresponds to 25% of 1/4 of the length of the wave, of the frequency that we want to obtain. So let's say we want a frequency of 40 hertz. Okay, 40 hertz has a wavelength of 8.6 meters, we want a quarter of that, so it's 8.6 divided by 4, and we want 25% of that quarter, okay? And that will give us a length which is corresponded to that length there. All right. Now, what has AFUL done here with the magic one? So let me explain now. So what they've done, they've taken the BA. That BA is output is connected to the nozzle, to the front of the nozzle, and it exits. Okay, fine. And then that specific BA that they're using there is a BA which has a rear output. Okay, as you can see, it's got a hole there between the connection pads. All right, it's got a little hole there. And this kind of follows more or less the same technology as the AccuPhase BAs used by Sonyan, especially in the 38D1X series. Okay, and that output is connected to a chamber. Okay, that chamber is what I showed you earlier. It's that square box there, that big square box you see inside there, square rectangular. Okay, there. That has a specific volume and resonates at a specific frequency. It is then connected to that tube, which again has a specific length, and further increases that frequency that they want to emphasize or they want to reach, okay? And then exits the shell via a little pinhole that's near here. Okay, let's see if I can show it to you. Let me just zoom it in. There, you see? It's a little hole there. That's where it exits, okay? All right, now, all of this creates a resonance, okay, emphasizing a specific frequency, which is then channeled back into the BA and how it actually works. That channeling is done and it's possible because of the way a BA works. A BA also goes forwards and backwards. It also oscillates, and this resonance that is created here channels itself back into the BA and exits then the output via the nozzle. It doesn't necessarily have to have been forward, pushed all the way forward and exiting there for you to get the benefits of this whole resonance here. So much so that even if I block the hole here, it doesn't really change that much. There's a slight little drop, but almost insignificant, which means that it's the resonance created by this tube and this chamber which is affecting the bass performance, okay? And for me to actually see the difference that this does or doesn't do to the BA, I would actually have to disconnect it over there and then see how the BA behaves and what bass I get, and then add this whole resonant chamber, because this whole thing here, this chamber and this tube, it's just a resonant chamber emphasizing a specific frequency, following a lot of a bit of the design of a horn loading or tapered quarter wave horn loading, where they are trying to specifically get a frequency emphasized, especially this technology is used in very small drivers like of 4 inches and 5 inches, and you see the bass that some of these drivers can actually generate. It's pretty impressive. Obviously not at monstrous volume levels, but they're able to reach down low because they are taking advantage of this acoustic this acoustic effect of emphasizing that specific wave in a specific manner. So that's what they've done here. AFUL has been very smart. They've used the technology that's been around in a long while. Obviously, to reach this sort of level of performance, they had to have taken into account a lot of parameters. They had to have taken into account the parameters, the electrical parameters of the BA, and made sure that what they were getting in terms of that volume was properly matched and properly designed. So it took time to design this. It took time to get to this level. This wasn't an IEM that was designed in a week or 2 weeks, where you just take a driver, shove it into a shell, and voila, you got an IEM. No, this took a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of research and development, a lot of smart people thinking how to extract the best out of a single BA. And that's what they've basically done. They've really gotten what I consider to be astounding performance from a single BA. It's a sound signature which is kind of very similar to a Harman style sound signature. It's very neutrally sounding, where nothing is emphasized. Everything is very smooth. The focus, without a doubt, is the mids, which are absolutely phenomenal. The mids, I would go as far as saying, forgetting now the volume level, but in terms of pure mids, it's probably one of the best IEMs I've heard in mids up to date. You know, let's keep always here the following thing in mind. It's one BA. I'm not talking here about a 6 BA monster or a 10 BA monster where we have multiple BAs handling the mids and the highs. I'm talking about a single BA that is doing miracles. This is comparable, in my opinion, this is comparable in terms of what it's capable of doing in performance to something like a Softier's Twilight, because the performance they are getting from a single DD there is nothing short of amazing. Sure, you can get things which get close, substantially cheaper, but ultimately that last little bit of detail, last bit of performance, you have to pay for it. And the Softier's Twilight and the way the shell was designed and the quality of the driver are exactly that. You know, it's no holes, no bars hole, no nothing. You go for the best and you design the best. That's it. And the Twilight, fair enough, it's a lot of money, but that's what they've done there. They've tried to extract the best performance out of a single DD, designing the shell and the driver around the shell in a very smart way. AFUL has done exactly the same thing with a BA, extracting performance from this BA that in terms of the mids, I am surprised and not surprised because, you know, for a full range BA, we know that we can get good mids. The etymatics are a testament to that. But for it to then have the extension in terms of the bass and the extension in terms of the highs at this level, it then takes a lot more. It takes a lot of smart implementations of a lot of knowledge. It takes a lot of things to be done to get where they've gotten here. And, you know, you listen to it, and like I just said, it's probably one of the nicest and one of the best sounding IEMs in terms of mids that I have. And I've got some nice IEMs, and I can confidently say that I've got some very nice IEMs. The sound is as smooth as can possibly be. There's, for me, perfect timbre and tonality, perfect male and female vocals come across beautifully. This is not about volume, people. This is about quality, okay? Forget the volume. This is about quality. Beautifully. And then in the extremes, the highs are silky smooth. There's just enough treble to make things come through, you know, with the right amount of twinklies and sparklies and detail and enough resolution and enough technical capabilities. And there's just enough extension in the low end to complement things as well nicely. Now, would I have liked more bass? Sure, of course I would have liked more bass. But it's a single BA, people. Come on, guys. Let's look at it this way. This is a single. It's the same thing as now me saying I have a 3mm dynamic driver. Okay, a 3mm dynamic driver, giving me a performance capability of, let's say, a 10mm good quality dynamic driver. It's the same thing. Okay, for me to make a better analogy, besides the analogy I made with regards to the Softier's Twilight, this, you could say, is like if I had a 3mm dynamic driver that was performing absolutely crazy well. What do I then, I took I got some IEMs here to compare and to kind of position better the Magic One so that you guys know exactly where it stands. Before the Magic One came around, I've never been very impressed with the etymotic stuff. I'll be honest, I've got some SEs which are single dynamics, not even a BA, but the fact that I have to shove it down my ear that much, it just kind of, the moment I got my ER2 SE and XR, I closed shop there. I said to myself, no, I'm not going to be spending more money on something which I know I'm not going to be using often because it's just raping my ears. So for me, in terms of a single BA, there are only two other IEMs which I consider half decent. One is the AudioSense, the DT100, which gets absolutely no love, and I can't understand why, because this is a very nice single BA, very nice. It's got as well a custom designed BA driver, which it exits the side of the driver. You can see there, it's not exiting the back or the front, the usual, you know, it's actually exiting in the side of the driver. And it's got a very nice tune. It sounds really good. Honestly, it sounds really good. Fine, it's not on the level of the Magic One. No, it's not. But honestly, it plays really well. It plays really well. And then the other one is the Lily, the Flow Audio Lily, which, I mean, not wanting to say something which might be a lie, this is basically a DTE 100. And the difference that exists here in the DTE 100 is, obviously the shell is slightly different, and the driver is firing from the front. It's not firing from the side, but very much the sound that I get from the Lily is the same type of sound that I'm getting from the DT100, bar having less extension up top. So it's a slightly darker sounding BA, and it's got a slight more amount of mid-bass impact. But the curve, and I'll show it to you in a second, the curve is very, very similar. So these two IEMs are very close to each other. I'm not saying that the BAs used are the same. What I am saying is that one exits the side, one exits the front. So there's a difference there, obviously. But I feel that the bass IEM is probably the same bass IEM. It's just a question of physical output of that BA. That's the impression that I get, because they are so similar sounding that I would be hard for me to believe that it's actually a completely different BA. Okay. Obviously the Magic one, and then on this end I've got here the Moondrop shoe, the original one, and I've got here the LITZ Galileo. And you might be asking yourself, oh wow, the Galileo and this, and why these two? Well, very simple, because in terms of the mids and the highs, these three sound very similar. Different levels of polish. This is definitely more polished than the shoe. The shoe might have a little bit more energy, but it loses its composure quicker, while this one maintains its composure very well. It scales very well. It keeps itself always very equal, be it at a low volume or a high volume. Although, having just said that, for me, this performs better at mid volumes to high volumes. Mid to high volumes, this actually performs better. The BA comes alive, especially in the low end. The low end comes alive very nicely. And the Galileo, using the Sonian BA, the mid performance very similar. There's a slight more little bit of extension here than on the Galileo, and obviously the Galileo, having a dynamic driver backing up the bass, it's got more bass. But the bass quality, the sense of the bass quality and extension, very similar. So these two are two IEMs that I believe can give a very good idea of what the Magic One sounds like. Obviously this for those that have it, and that one for those that have it. Of course, if you don't have either one of this, you won't know what the Magic One sounds like. But if you have a chew, imagine the Magic One as a chew with more polished mids and highs. So the same sort, but more polished, cleaner, just more, no sibilance or borderline sibilance, for example, in saxes or certain wind instruments, okay? And with very nicely executed. The quality of the bass here is very, very good. That there's got more energy. Yes, it's a dynamic driver, but the quality. And with the Galileo, the same thing. The mids, I would say, are very comparable. A little bit more quality here than there. Yes, definitely a little bit more quality than there. And definitely a little bit more extension as well in the highs than over there. Granted, this has got way more bass energy. And that also doesn't help the mids shine as much as they possibly could. That is the reality. But the mids are very equal. And I go back to what I was saying earlier. This is probably one of the best sounding IEMs I have in terms of its mid-range. Especially when I consider it's a single BA. Especially when I consider that. To have this sort of performance from one BA, it's nothing short of amazing. And now make of it what you want. Oh, I'm shilling it, I'm exaggerating. Trust me, if you actually have the time to listen to it properly, not put it in your ears for 5 minutes and take conclusions, but listen to it properly, go through a whole bunch of songs and really listen to music, okay? Don't go put EDM here and expecting to, oh no, I just put some black coffee here and oh, the mids here are amazing, or the mids here, they suck, they're not worth. No, listen to music, listen to real music, please. And don't take offense to what I'm saying by this, anyone. Listen to real music, listen to the mid-range performance, listen to vocals, listen to, for example, something like Cecile Norby, listen to let's say, Sentimental Mood from Cecile Norby. I mean, it's unreal. It is truly, truly unreal. Listen to, for example, Carol Duboc. Listen to, for example, let me see another one. No Ordinary Love from Sade. Listen to that. Listen to it carefully, okay? And then go and compare it to other IEMs, and I can guarantee you will be very impressed by how good the mids and the highs here have been done. Very, very well done. If anything, the part here that will maybe leave some desiring a little bit more is just the base quantity, not the quality, it's the quantity. But again, I repeat what I just said earlier as well. Think of this as a 3mm dynamic driver. How much base quantity are you expecting to get out of a 3mm base driver? I'm sure you're not going to be expecting to get a lot of it. But now, can you get a lot of quality? Yes, definitely. And that's what it has. That's why I said in the beginning, the Magic One is a niche IEM. It's an IEM for a person that has got already multiple IEMs, let's say, and wants something very exclusive, something very unique, something very different, and something very capable. I mean, there's nothing out there of a single BA. There is no single BA that touches this. That's the reality. And if there is, please correct me. But of the single BAs I've heard, there's not a single BA that touches this. Okay. Technically, as I was saying, very proficient, very, very good. Good soundstage. It's not the biggest of 3D sound stages, but it's got a good soundstage, good width, good height, good depth, good imaging, very good imaging. You can position things very nicely. It doesn't get taxed when it's a complicated track or anything of the sort. Detail retrieval is again very good. Resolution very good. I would say that the two things that surprise me the most, again considering it's a BA, it's its timbre and its tonality. It doesn't have that timbre and tonality vibe. Okay. It sounds very un-BA like, but at the same time it has that cleanliness, that sparkle, that speed that is associated with the BA. So timbre and tonality definitely it's best quality for me, and then detail retrieval I would say second with alongside with imaging. All right. So technically very capable IEM for what it is. Sonically very capable IEM, especially for what it is, and that's the one thing that we must never forget. We must not forget this is a single BA, guys. So don't, how does it stack up against C Audio Neko or a SA6 or a Bravery? It's not fair to compare, period. It is not fair to compare because you have got multiple BAs there, each one focused on specific frequencies doing their thing. And this is a single BA doing everything. And it does it better than a lot of multiple BAs out there. Let me put it to you that way. This handles things better than a lot of multiple BA IEMs out there. And I took my time to compare it with a few. Trust me, no point in saying which ones, doesn't matter, but it does it better. Especially in the mids and the highs, I have to take my hats off to AFUL. Alright, anyway guys, show you now the graphs and we'll wrap it up. Hi guys, and welcome now to the graph section for the AFUL Magic One. Okay, let me just show you now then the graphs for the AFUL. 1 second here. Yes, okay, that's right. Alright, so let's start. This is the graph using the white stock tip that it brings. And as you can see, I mean, this is a graph that you can't really fault. Nice sub-bass focus, gliding into the mid-bass beautifully, flat by 300 Hz and no bleed into the mids. Pin again, peaking at just over 2Ks, maintained itself almost flat across the majority of the mids. Everything sitting within a window of 80 to 88, so 8 dBs more or less. I mean, you can't fault it, honestly. I cannot find fault. This is using, the one I'm going to show you now is using again the stock tip, but that one, it looks like the BGVP 08s. Okay, same thing basically. It clears up the bass a little bit, that tip already, and it does change the profile here slightly. Difficult to say if it loses. I would say that with that tip, that 08 tip, what I found was that the bass was clearer, and the bass being clearer, somehow it also helped out in cleaning up the treble somehow. That's the only thing I can kind of say that I perceive as the differences. Now the white tip, the problem for me was because it's too soft, it would lose its seal very quickly. So the 08 tip that it brings along with it is, well, it's not an 08 tip, it's similar to an 08 tip, I think is the better choice. And then finally this black one is with the, be it the T-tip or be it the Clarion, the TRI Clarion, they both are the same. And as you can see, it's similar to the 08 in terms of its graph, okay, very similar. And I preferred this specific tip. This was the one I liked the most. It's not because it's got this tip here at 5. Yeah, I don't know. It just works very well with not only the magic one but also with my ears. It just works very well. It's got the right amount of cleanliness, the right amount of tightness in the base. Everything's just, you know, spot on. Compare them to what I brought out. The first one I'm going to be showing you is the Audio Sense, the DT100. Okay, that's this one. Everything has been normalized at 500 Hertz, by the way. And in essence, when you look at it this way, you know, you'd say, okay, the difference is not that much. Well, there is differences. And the difference, the first big difference that you find is that the bass, although on the DT100, it's a very good bass, mind you. Don't be fooled by the fact that it hasn't got a good bass. It does. And I think the difference that you see here can to a certain extent already kind of explain what I was trying to tell you guys, which is that whole network, that chamber behind it is doing something in terms of improving the bass. Okay, but you do notice a difference in the bass. There's just more weight, more lushness, you get a more how can I explain? Excuse me. You lose the sense of, let's say, you lose the sense of BA, that BA quality of being clean and too clinical, and you get a more DD-ish type of bass presentation, okay, with that whole system that AFUL has done. And that's what you notice in terms of the difference between the two of them, the AFUL and the DT100, straight away. And then in terms of the mids and the upper mids, there is differences, especially with regards to that timbre and that tonality. The timbre and the tonality of the Magic One is just, it's just nicer, it's just better, it's just more, it does away or tries to eliminate the majority of the BA negative aspects. And that's where you notice the difference, okay? Compared to the Flow Audio, very much the same situation. Although you do notice the Flow Audio is a darker sounding IEM. Definitely not as much extension, so you notice that there's some information missing up top there. And you also notice that the male vocals are somewhat I wouldn't say recessed, but they're just way too laid back, okay? And when I compare actually the Flow with the DTE 100, let me just put it, you can see what I was saying earlier, that they are basically the same thing. It's just a question of the exit of that BA driver, which I think ultimately dictates the difference that exists here mainly, okay? Again, like I said, I'm not saying it's the same driver, the exits are different, but I feel that they are probably the same family of driver. All right, so that's the DTE and the Flow Audio out of the way. And then compared here to the Moondrop Shoe, which is this one here, the Shoe has got, yes, more energy, definitely it has, but it's a less polished energy, especially when you start cranking the volume. The Shoe loses its composure, okay? And in terms of the bass, although there's a more present bass in terms of the quantity, it's nowhere near the quality of the bass of the Magic One. The Magic One has got better quality. You can feel notes and it better, okay? It's as simple as that. All right, but the overall vibe that you get from one and the other, if you do the necessary adjustments for the quantity and energy at the various frequency parts, is very similar. Okay, so it's like I was saying, you have a shoe. The Magic One is a polished up shoe, a significantly polished up shoe, to be honest. All right, and then finally compared with the Electro Galileo. Again, the mids, very similar style of mids and upper mids. It's the extension that exists on the Magic One, which is the difference, which is noticeable. You pick up on it, and that's basically always been the issue with the Galileo. It could have had a little bit more extension, okay, but I guess that's the price to pay for having a single BA, which is mainly focused for mid-range applications, implemented in the way that it was implemented. Yeah, so to extract the best mids out of it, they had to give away some of its upper end extension. And then the bass, obviously, although graphically and they look similar, they're not similar in terms of output. Okay, they're not. The bass of the Galileo is way more energetic, but funny enough, the quality of that bass is very equal. So again, I think that's a very positive plus point for the Magic One. It's the quality of the Magic One's bass is quite impressive. It's really got a very well executed bass. There's no lack of information, let's put it that way. It's just a question of energy and how much volume you want out of it. But having said that, like I mentioned before, it gets loud enough and it plays loud enough. I didn't have any issues with any song that I listened to. Even some more EDM stuff that I like listening to, it played it very well. I was actually quite surprised. I wasn't like Riviera. It's got a nice bass line to it. I wasn't expecting it to play it nicely, and it does it very well. While, for example, if I play that same song on the DTE 100 or on the Flow Audio, you feel that they are playing it, but they are like on the edge. Okay, they are on the limit. And on the Magic One, it was fine. It handled it like a boss. So no complaints there. Anyway, guys, I hope my explanation of the Magic Ones and its technology has been good. It's been clear. It has clarified doubts and made sure that people understand what's been going on there. On the one hand. On the other hand, I'm going to reiterate the fact that this is a niche IEM. So if you are looking for an IEM that's gonna, rattle your brains or whatever, don't. If you're looking for an IEM that is very unique, very different, very special, you have the extra money to spend, and you want to have something which, it stands out by its uniqueness, definitely. In terms of its sound reproduction capabilities, it's an IEM for you to just listen to music, not for you to blow your brains out. And again, I don't say this with any offense, because I like listening to music loud as well, but this is an IEM that I put on when I want to listen to some nice jazz, some nice vocals, the occasional, more energetic song, pop, EDM, whatever, but just listen to music in a very relaxed manner, enjoy my coffee, my tea in the afternoon, just relax and chill out, and that's it. This is not an IEM that I'm going to be using to go to the gym, for example. No, that's not what it's done, Similar analogies can be made with regards to many other things, so I'm sure you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say here. Okay. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked it. Any questions, any doubts, please feel free to ask me. You take care now. Bye-bye.